This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Sunday. I might be a little late, just a little bit. Welcome. I don't even know what I'm doing. Let's go with this meme. I'm a little unorganized. It's not just in time. It's like really past time. My apologies. I'm kind of getting a little sleepy. Maybe Papaw's getting a little too old to be up this late. War Machine. You know, I bookmarked that story. That is the first person of color to win at Indianapolis. So that covers open wheel racing too. IndyCar. That's insane. That makes me feel sad for racing that it took until 2025. Apparently Trump went on an all-time insane rant I haven't even seen that happened a couple of hours before I was indisposed. So I might even have to like find that out. I used to be a NASCAR fan, so I'm happy Bubba Wallace was able to pull off the win. I've been to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway twice. I've been to the Brickyard 400 twice in my life. I've been to like 8 NASCAR races. I don't seem like a NASCAR-y kind of guy, but I really like car racing. I play Gran Turismo on the PlayStation. I used to play Need for Speed. I'm like, oh, fucking, I could take some Mario Kart. Indy is a really cool place. It's a really fun, and like when I was there, I don't know, I've kind of gotten out of it, especially NASCAR. So I don't really watch racing anymore. I just kind of play it myself. But like when I was there, the lesser race, the Busch Series is what it was. I have no idea what they're calling it anymore. I think they lost the sponsorship for one of them. The Craftsman trucks, like those were at the Raceway Park and they were down the road. So like we were like going to the museum and shit because the museum's inside the track. Super fucking cool. Also, I was on some like biker meth. I went with my brother and a few of his friends, and they got us some crank. Biker meth. Oh my god. But like you need something to just walk all over this gigantic speedway all day. That's kind of you need a little, toot toot. Ghislaine Maxwell, 1961 until next week or so. What do you guys think? Did she speak to the DOJ officials, the Deputy Attorney General, tell him that Trump wasn't implicated, but several Democrats, maybe some Republicans too, so it doesn't look too bipartisan, but it's Republicans that Trump hates are implicated. And she gets a pardon. She gets a pardon from life. Is that what you guys think? Thank you for the sandwiches. She left with a box of stuff. When I last left you guys on Thursday evening, she left the meeting with a box of stuff that she returned to her cell with. DJ Dub, welcome in. My apologies for being late. Holiday, my friend. Join us in following Holiday. What is it my good friend Jason Society says? Fill in Holiday's heart hole. Bloop, bloop. She got something from the DOJ. We don't know what it is yet. What we're going to be talking about tonight. Listen. I got two stories that are fucking insane. There's the stabbing in Michigan first. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, so there was this man. He's filing a lawsuit. Or I guess his family's probably filing a lawsuit. They were harvesting his organs. They thought he was dead. Wakes while they were harvesting his organs. The federal investigation has been launched. A man in Knoxville was thought to be dead, was revived during the medical examiner's autopsy. A Maryland man is suing after being falsely imprisoned on death row for like 10 years. Do you guys know about... If you are fans of Echoplex Media, and I know many of you are, then you're probably aware of who one Mr. Sean Fucked is. He's the curly-haired guy that plays guitar. Super white nationalist Christian piece of shit. He's been trying to hold some concerts in Canada. It ain't been going well for him. We've covered this man. He's the... What do you call the head of the Department of Education? The president of the... That's not it. The chair? Fucking why am I drawing a brain fart right now? Superintendent. God damn it. Super Nintendo Chalmers. The Super Nintendo Chalmers of Oklahoma has issued a statement after an investigation into porn being shown. Now, this is one of those, grooming kids kind of people. The LGBTQ community's grooming kids, a white nationalist piece of shit. Under investigation for the porn on the Department of Education computer system. Trump visited Scotland. We're going to hear from old lady Graham. All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol live. Good evening. The south of Richmond, I have no idea about him. So I did watch some sort of kind of a follow-up on the guy. And apparently he's tried to distance himself from the right-wing lunatics and just keep a low profile and shit. He went on Joe Rogan a few months ago or something, and it really flew under the radar. Italian Squirrel, thank you for the follow. Thank you for being here, my friend. I don't think he liked the co-opting by the right wing that he got so much. I think he saw some really bad people get behind him, and he was like, wait a minute. I think he had a moment of introspection. Let's get started with... Oh, I've got this. Let's start with this here. Last week on Sunday, I took the Chris Cillizza. Hold on, I don't know what the actual name of this is. The What the Fuck Friday? That's not what it's called. Chris Cillizza News Quiz. The Friday So What News Quiz by Chris Cillizza to test how closely you followed the news. Last week I took it. I thought it would be fun because I hadn't watched the news. We did vacation week. But I still kind of keep up with the news, right? So this week, I did a whole week's worth of shows, and we've got like a different perspective probably, because I actually really paid attention to the news. So let's see. I got 8 out of 10 last week. Let's see how many we get this week. This is the Chris Saliza. What the fuck is this called again? The So What Friday News Quiz. What former RNC chair is now expected to run for the Senate in North Carolina? It's the current. I think he's the current one. Michael Watley. What conservative influencer is French President Emmanuel Macron suing for alleging that his wife was actually born a man? Oh my God. It's Candace Owens. And 69%. Guess Candace Owens. Nice. What job did Elena Haba hold in the Trump administration? She holds it again. She's still the U.S. Attorney for New Jersey. They pulled some kind of weird maneuvering. According to Hunter Biden, what medication was responsible for Joe Biden's lackluster debate? Say he was on Ambien. Everybody blames the Ambien. Which Republican House member announced a run for the South Carolina governorship on Friday? Ooh. Is it a current? Ralph Norman. Educated guess. What recently deceased celebrity did Donald Trump declare was MAGA all the way? I mean, Hulk Hogan. I was kind of wondering, like, did he claim Ozzy was MAGA all the way? What state is not reportedly considering redistricting its congressional lines before the 2026 midterms? Oh, so I know New York, California, Texas. Ooh, which one is not? I have not heard anything about Illinois. Incorrect. It's Georgia. You know, I haven't heard anything about any of them other than New York and California. California was a response to Texas. Ooh, ouch. What Midwestern governor announced he would not seek re-election this week? Was it Tim Walz? Was it Tony Evers? Tony Evers. Who attended Donald Trump and Marla Maples' wedding at the Plaza? Well, that one's a Jeffrey Epstein right there. 98% got that one. 1% said Oprah. Bigfoot, but only in the background. Wow. How long is former Representative George Santos' prison sentence? It's not 7 months. It's 7 months. Incorrect. 7 years. Ooh, damn. Again, I got 8 out of 10. Damn, I didn't know he was going away for 7 years. So again, I'm in like the top 38%. Damn, one of these weeks. We did not cover George Santos. We did not. What's the other one I got wrong? I don't even remember now. Oh, it was the redistricting one, wasn't it? Yep. Socialist aunt. Who else snuck in here on me while I was taking Tones? Welcome in, friends. Sorry I'm late. Libertad, did I tell you good evening? Hope you're doing well across the pond. I really upset Warlord by being late tonight. All right, let's go over to Trump, who was in Scotland and possibly gave another more batshit crazy interview. Let me see if I can find whatever he did just recently.
Scotland as part of what the White House officials are calling a working visit. He was greeted by Scottish protesters. This comes as the Justice Department wrapped up a second day of questioning of Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator. CBS News' Weijia Zhang has more.
President Trump teed off with his son Eric and the U.S. ambassador to Britain at his luxury golf resort in Turnberry, Scotland.
Oh, good shot.
Then he posted a video of his shots on social media. At the same time, hundreds of protesters gathered in front of the U.S. consulate in the Scottish capital, Edinburgh.
Even though he has Scottish roots, he's a disgrace to us.
Trump plans to host the UK's Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, and the President of the European Union, Ursula von der Leyen, for trade talks at his personal properties. While the U.S. signed an agreement with the UK last month, Trump acknowledged making a deal with the EU requires more work.
I would say that we have a 50-50 chance. Maybe less than that.
Though he's thousands of miles from home, Trump is still fielding questions about the Jeffrey Epstein case. For the second day, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche on Friday interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's former girlfriend convicted of conspiracy in the repeated sexual abuse of young girls.
I don't know anything about the conversation.
The president did not rule out a pardon for Maxwell, who is serving a 20-year prison term.
This is just not a time to be talking about pardons. Todd will come back with whatever he's got.
Maxwell's defense lawyer said she is cooperating freely.
President Trump was also working the phones today, speaking to the leaders of Thailand and Cambodia about the conflict at their border. And the King of Jordan says he also talked to Trump, stressing the need to end the war.
I heard it was a holiday in Cambodia.
Aid to help the catastrophic humanitarian situation.
Which also is a song about conflict in Cambodia. I don't listen to punk. I don't actually know what it's about. I would just assume it's about the U.S.'s interference in Cambodia during the Vietnam War. That would make the most sense. Oh, also, I have submitted my video to Jubilee. I will know by the end of the week if I got selected. I would be one of the surrounders, not the surroundee. That's what Curiouser thought, that I was applying to be one of the surrounded people. I was like, I'm not big enough for that. But I could be one of the surrounders. So I sent it, like, you had to send in a whole video and everything. But the thing I'm expecting is, if I were to get picked, it would probably be like, you can come on, but you got to pay for your own travel to LA. That's if I was to hear back, I would expect to hear that, because I think I nailed the video. So that's kind of like in a week. The taping is on August 9th. So I would basically have to like fundraise or something. And Curiouser is totally behind me and is going to make this happen. They've already been looking at flights and shit. And we talked about like when we would have to leave. She'd go with me. And she's like, I'd videotape you the whole way, blah, blah, blah. That's, yeah. Ask a song. But then once I'm there, I have to be one of the people to touch the chair to make sure, you know, it's not a wasted trip. But I would assume like sometime within the 2 hours, I'd be able to make it up there. Hopefully be one of the people who gets to go up twice. I have no problem with being first either. Okay, so I don't know how much I can tell you, because I know it's a pretty like NDA fucking thing. But I would assume, since the casting call is open, I can tell you what the topic is. It's 20 anti-capitalists against a capitalist. do not know who the Surrounded is. And as according to Mehdi, based on what he said about going in, it does, because I know very little about Jubilee. I don't watch them, but I've listened to like Mehdi talk about his experience. It seems that no one knew that he was the person when he walked in. Like, it was a surprise to them. So, and the angle that I took was like, I'm sure you don't get a lot of people from Appalachia on the show, and an Appalachian's perspective, especially on capitalism, because you have to like write an essay and shit, and then do like a little video piece. And my essay was about, you know, coal barons in eastern Kentucky, and also about how the only people that got rich off of the coal industry were the doctors, the pharmacists that wrote the prescription. The pharmaceutical industry came in, ravaged the area. Lawyers that did SSI, workers' comp claims, they got rich. So that was what I went for. I thought there was some sort of Trump press conference that happened. Let's talk about the trade deal, I guess. Is that ostensibly what he was in Europe for? It seems like all he did was play golf. But I have been a little indisposed over this weekend. We were watching Hulk Hogan. Curiouser agrees. She's like, you would do. She called it the Debate Bro Gangbang. Oh, you want to be on Debate Bro Gangbang? You would be perfect. So, and she seems like she's going to do everything she can to help me make it happen as well as going with me. Seriously, she's going to get off work on Thursday. We're going to fly. If fly sometime on. I fucking hate flying. I haven't flown in 25 years. The last time I flew was I've flown 8, 9, 10 times, but they were all before the year 2000. Last time was 2000. I'm scared to death of heights. I'm scared to death of flights. Holy shit. The thought is freaking me out, and it will be more than one. It'll be like 3 different flights. Oh, thank you, Socialist Talent. I feel like I'll tell everybody else. I feel like everybody will help me. Producer Dave will promote it and shit. And once again, like I can hopefully pay it forward. Get paid in exposure by going out there. Who knows? I might stay out in LA. I've got TV shows I'd like to pitch. Seriously, I've got a really good one. If anybody knows a TV executive that can get me a pitch meeting, you get a producer's credit. I got a banger. Trump announces trade, and I've thought about doing an Indiegogo because like it's so good, but like I need to write like the whole treatment and probably like a first episode, write the script for it, and do like an Indiegogo, and because I don't. $100,000 maybe to film an episode. I could probably do it for a lot less, but I need cameras and shit. $50,000 I could probably do it for. I can make it happen. Make it and then get picked up by a network. Cause like fucking, have you seen the shit that's on TV? Come on. I got hooked into Dexter again. This is like, if this is the third, fourth time now. If it lets it go, okay. So the first run, horrible ending, left such a bad taste in my mouth. I don't even know if I can go back and watch the show again. So I get into it again. They do the New Blood thing. Also horrible. And see, the show goes way past where the books go. So that's why they don't know what to fucking do. Don't do it justice. The second time around, horrible ending. I'm like, I'm never watching this shit again. And then they do a third one. And I'm like, God damn, the casting's so good on this. I'll give it a whirl. And then that one just kind of had kind of a flat ending, but I also think they're probably going to do a second season. That's the prequel. So then like, you know, this is the fourth time, and the third episode, I'm like, man, this is mid. I'm not into it. Fourth episode, holy fuck, got me right back in. But then again, like, I knew it going into it. Like, you've got fucking Kristen Ritter, you got fucking Peter Dinklage, Neil Patrick Harris. If you don't fucking do something, the dude from Modern Family and shit, if you don't do something with them and kill it. And sure enough, the episode with them is awesome. So, goddamn, got me back in again. But also, I love Kristen, I fuck her name up. Kristen Ritter. Jessica Jones? It's good to see her in something again, because I don't watch the Marvel stuff. Yeah, you can't not win with that cast, right? But if it lets me down again, it's not that the writing's not good, it's not that the episodes aren't good and entertaining, it's that they never stick the landing. They never give you a satisfying conclusion. And that's the part. That's the part that matters the most. I'm sorry, I'm not doing the news. Or not doing the news at this point in time. I didn't tell you I'm not going to do the news. We'll do the fucking news. I would just kind of, we can not do the news, or we can say fuck it. No, we got crazy fucking news to talk about. Nothing that can't wait. You want to do music in a police chase? Is that more fun? It's more fun for me. The night's already over with. I'm not high enough for this shit. Curiouser tried to get me to turn on sexy music while we were watching Stan Hansen versus Hulk Hogan. And I'm like, that just don't go together. She said she'd probably fuck Stan Hansen, but Hulk Hogan was hard to fap to. And I was like, fair enough. Stan Hansen was a badass. No, just fun tonight. We're doing fun, Socialist Aunt. We'll come back to the news. I'll put more effort in. Because I half-assed it tonight. I mean, I do have all the news shit that I told you I had. You know, the dude with the porn and the Sean fucked and stuff. But, like, that's all I got. Like, everything I named off, that's all I put on my list. Usually I got a gigantic long list. Let's do a police chase. Sorry, YouTube people. Oh, Socialist Aunt demands news. Okay, I can't wave at. God, I'm a man of the people. News.
Major victory for President Trump that averts a painful trade war between the United States and the European Union. The two trading partners exchange $2 trillion in goods every year. CBS's Weijia Jiang is in Edinburgh, Scotland, traveling with the president. Weijia.
Good evening, Jerika. Heading into
Legion,
President Trump set expectations for
Lenny
done with the European Union, putting the chances at 50-50. And then after a meeting that lasted just over 1 hour, Trump announced they had reached an agreement.
We have good news. We've reached a deal.
President Trump announced the news from his luxury golf resort in Turnberry, where he hosted the president of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen.
I think this deal will bring us very close together, actually. Sort of, it's a partnership in a sense.
It's a huge deal. It will bring stability. It will bring predictability. That's very important for our businesses on both sides of the Atlantic.
The two leaders said the tariff rate for imports from the EU's 27 member countries would be 15%, down from 30% that was set to kick in on Friday. The EU has agreed to purchase U.S. military equipment, $750 billion of U.S. energy, and invest an additional $600 billion in other sectors. And there's good news for U.S. companies that sell to EU nations.
They're agreeing to open up their countries to trade at zero tariff. So that's a very big factor.
Earlier, Trump took time to air his long-held dislike of windmills. In 2015, Trump lost a lawsuit against the Scottish
windmills
for an offshore wind farm project near his Gulf.
You got it, Van. Welcome in. Quesadilla. Maynard's right here, and he bit me earlier, so he gets picked up. He was fighting me. He's a little shithead, but I love him. He's so if he's asleep and I start petting him, he's so into it and he's purring and everything. But the moment he gains consciousness, the moment he is awake and knows what's going on, it's like he's so mean. But I love him so much. He won't lay like next to my chest. He lays at my hip or on my leg. And I'm like, "Come up here, buddy. I can't rub on you cuz if we sleep together and like sometimes I will go like he'll be like he'll sleep and I'll kind of like inch over to him and I'll kind of like get him in like the little spoon position and rub on his back and like he'll like stretch. Oh, it's so cute. I love that little dude. Hey Maynard, I love you. He ain't paying no attention at all. Windmills
resort, claiming it would ruin the ocean view.
I look over the horizon and I see 9 windmills. It's like right at the end of the 18th. I said, isn't that a shame? What a shame. You have the same thing all over Europe.
Tomorrow, President Trump plans to host UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer at his golf resort. Even though the two leaders already signed a trade agreement last month, Trump says this meeting is a chance to celebrate.
All right, Weecha Jang, thank you.
I just started off with the trade deal and then talked about like the protests because they brought up Ghislaine Maxwell. We got to talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. Her attorney claims that she didn't get a fair trial. This is what he had to say after meeting with the Justice Department on Friday. Specifically Todd Blanche, who was Trump's defense attorney, which seems like a glaring conflict of interest.
Hey everybody, we finished for the
I knew it was going to do that.
day. We started this morning right around 9 o'clock and went to now lunchtime, and we're finished after all day yesterday and today. Glenn answered every single question asked of her over.
He called her Glenn. How do you say this fucking woman's name?
Question asked of her over the last day and a half. Every single question.
God damn it.
Yesterday and today, Ghislaine answered every single
Ghislaine?
question
Ghislaine?
over the last day and a half. She answered
Ghislaine?
questions honestly, truthfully, to the best of her ability. She never invoked a privilege. She never refused to answer a question. So we're very proud of her. We're proud of how the process has worked over the past day and a half. I will say this, she has been treated unfairly for the past 5 years. She didn't get a fair trial. We're still appealing to the Supreme Court. We're going to be filing a reply in the Supreme Court on her cert petition on Monday. Remember, people have questioned her honesty, which I think is just wrong. Remember, a juror lied to get onto the jury, admitted to lying to get onto her jury. She did not get a fair trial. No prosecutor even mentioned her until Epstein died. So we feel that the process for Ghislaine has been unfair. She was denied bail. She was treated worse than an animal would be treated in jail when she was first held, woken up every 15 minutes.
Are you serious?
We're just trying to get through the process where we are now and get her some relief. So that's where we are today.
The nerve of him to say that. Wow. But that's why he gets paid the big bucks, right? Shit. Trump trying to deflect from Ghislaine by going after Obama.
Welcome back.
Here's old lady Graham on Meet the Press.
South Carolina. Senator Graham, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you.
Thank you for being back. So let's start with the Epstein files. Let me ask you the question I've asked everyone. You've just heard my conversations. Do you think that the Jeffrey Epstein files should be released in full, Senator?
Yeah, I like what the speaker said. I'm on board with Speaker Johnson to release as much as you can, protecting victims the best you can.
All right. Well, let me ask you about this twist that happened this week. President Trump seemed to want to try to shut down questions about the Epstein files by accusing former President Obama of treason. This came as his director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, declassified documents which allege top Obama officials manufactured information related to Russian interference in the 2016 election. Now, Senator, as you are well aware, this actually contradicts a bipartisan Senate intelligence report led by Marco Rubio, which found that Russia did, in fact, interfere in the election. Do you actually believe that former President Obama committed treason?
Well, I think somebody needs to look at what we found. You
didn't find shit.
Looked at the matter, and they said in 2017, the intelligence analysis of 2017 showing that Russia was trying to interfere in our election was real. They didn't achieve their goal. But what she found, Ms. Gabbard, is that in 2016, the intelligence community told President Obama there's no evidence that Russia was involved in trying to change the outcome of the election. And he supposedly told a group of people, keep looking, and the analysis changed. So what we're looking at is what role did Obama play in 2016 to change the narrative that resulted in 2017? I'm not alleging he committed treason, but I am saying it bothers me. It's disturbing that this is new information. And now you got the number 2 guy at the FBI, Mr. Bongino, saying he's seen things that has changed his life. And I assume now he's referring to Russia. So the best way to handle this is if there is evidence of a crime being committed or suspected evidence of a crime being committed, create a special counsel to look at it I think that's the best way to go.
Okay, let me follow up with you on your calls for a special counsel investigation. As you know, Senator, there was already a Trump-appointed special counsel at the time investigating the origins of the Russia probe. It did
Trump-appointed
evidence of political interference. And Senator, at the time, you agreed with the findings of the intelligence community. I want to play back what you said at the time. Take a look.
Yep. The Russians did it. It was the Russians who tried to interfere in our election. Every member of the committee agrees it was the Russians. They didn't change the outcome, but they did release information embarrassing to the Democratic Party. It did affect Hillary Clinton. There's only one person in Washington that I know of that has any doubt about what Russia did in our election, and it's President Trump.
Senator, are you now saying that you don't believe that Russia tried to interfere in the 2016 election?
Well, what I am saying is that you left a lot out here. It's called the Horowitz Report. It's the Mueller investigation was crooked and rotten to the core. The Washington Post and the New York Times.
What? No, you can't just come out here and make these accusations. God damn it, Lindsey Graham.
Got a Pulitzer Prize for reporting on Trump's campaign's relationship with Russia. It was all BS. At the time, I didn't know any of that. At the time, I didn't know that they were manufacturing evidence to get FISA warrants. There was a confirmation bias. Durham didn't say there was no political bias. He did quite the opposite. He said every time a FISA warrant was sought in the Mueller world, they got it, and the errors made to get warrants in this space were a lot greater than they were in anything not involving Trump. But what I'm saying is that this is new evidence. This is something you didn't know, that in 2016, Obama suggested, I don't like the outcome that there's no evidence Russia was involved. Well, now we all say Russia was involved, but in 2016, they said Russia wasn't involved. What the hell happened? Let's get a special counsel.
Hold on, Senator. As you know, former President Obama has weighed in through a spokesperson. He says that's just patently false. I actually spoke to Susan Miller, who's a former senior CIA officer who helped oversee the 2017 intelligence assessment on Russian interference. She says it's completely false that Obama or anyone else asked them to change or sway their investigation. She says she says, and she's a Republican, says they all would have quit if that had happened.
Yep, Senator, that was the quote I was looking for. Thank you, Kirsten Welker.
Matter, Senator.
No, I'm trying to let you know and the media know that we found something we didn't know before.
No, they're saying you're full of shit.
I'm not calling for a prosecution against President Obama for treason, but I am calling for an investigation. Mr. Miller also said there was no credible evidence that President Trump colluded with the Russians. For years and months and days and weeks, people had their lives turned upside down chasing the Mueller narrative. Trump was in bed with the Russians, that the Trump campaign was colluding with the Russians. The only people colluding with the Russians were the Hillary Clinton campaign and Christopher Steele manufacturing a document to get warrants against Carter Page based on lies and falsehoods. So, yeah, I'm very familiar with it. What you don't seem to acknowledge is there's something new being found. Rather than reinventing the wheel here, let's go back to a special counsel model to look at this something new. The something new is statements by President Obama. I don't like your analysis. Russia wasn't involved here in 2016.
Senator, you're saying there's something new. This report goes back to 2020. It's 5 years old. There's actually nothing new in this report and nothing that changes anything. But I want to talk about Gaza.
Turned over is new to me.
Because you're a dumb fuck. There's nothing new.
Trying to sweep this stuff under the rug, and that's not right.
But Senator, you know that at the time you said you did believe the assessments and the multiple investigations. But let me move on to Gaza. Let's talk about Gaza, Senator, because this is so important. As I just talked about with the House Speaker, the world is just watching this humanitarian crisis unfold. President Trump said he told Prime Minister Netanyahu to, quote, finish the job this week. I know that you are in touch with President Trump. You're in touch with Israeli officials. What are you anticipating is going to happen next? What does finish the job mean, Senator?
Well, I talked to Cindy McCain last night. Here's some good news for the people in Gaza. Humanitarian.
Thank you. If you talk to Cindy McCain, then I have hope that you know the severity of the situation.
Quarters are now going to be open. Israel's going to work with the UN, the World Food Program, to get some food into these people who need it. But I think what the topic we're talking about today is a change in strategy. I think President Trump has come to believe, and I certainly have come to believe, there's no way you're going to negotiate an end to this war with Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization who is chartered to destroy the state of Israel. They're religious Nazis. They hold Israeli hostages. I think Israel's come to conclude that they can't achieve a goal of ending the war with Hamas that would be satisfactory to the safety of Israel. And if they're going to do in Gaza what we did in Tokyo and Berlin, take the place by force, then start over again, presenting a better future for the Palestinians, hopefully having the Arabs take over the West Bank and Gaza. But I think, Christian, you're going to see a change in tactics, a full military effort by Israel to take Gaza down like we did in Tokyo and Berlin.
Senator, bottom line.
Did you just hear what he said? We burned Tokyo to the ground. Holy shit.
Does that mean the hostages are not going to be coming back alive if Israel were to move forward with what you're effectively saying?
I hope not. I think there are people maybe in the Hamas organization that would accept safe passage if they release the hostages. If I were Israel, I'd make that offer to Hamas fighters. You can leave safely. We want our hostages back. But here's the problem Israel has. Yeah. They're losing soldiers 4 and 5 a week. I hope and pray that
4 and 5! 4 and 5 as thousands of Palestinians die. As famine is setting in.
Hostages will come back. Hamas could end this tomorrow by laying down their weapons and releasing the hostages. There is no future for the Palestinian people as long as Hamas is around. So all I can say is that you're going to see, I think, in the next days and weeks, a military effort to destroy Hamas, akin to what we did in Tokyo and Berlin to destroy the Nazis and the Japanese.
Well, we all are praying for those hostages still. Senator Lindsey Graham, thank you so much.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on
shut up, Tom Llama.
The NBC News app, or watch live on our YouTube channel.
I miss Lester being on there. That was so much fun. Okay, you're getting ready to see. I can't believe I'm showing you a clip from Matt Gaetz' show. But he had on an IDF hostage's dad. So this is one of the people who are being held hostage by Hamas. They're an IDF soldier, ironically. I probably shouldn't call them hostages. They're a POW. That's completely different thing. With the whole framing is wrong, but this is a hostage's father on with Matt Gaetz, and this is very enlightening.
Should cease its support for these war operations?
Yeah, I'm saying this. I'm an Israeli patriot, as a father who sent all of his children to the army. My daughter, twin sister of Nimrod, is now serving in the army. We want to secure Israel, but security comes with ending wars, not to continue endless wars which are not necessary. And it's like saying, I want to protect this person, let's talk about Netanyahu, but he's not acting in a responsible way. It's like giving a gun to a drunk man. So security comes with responsibility.
Hey, Lindsey Graham, this is one of the hostages' father saying continuing to arm Netanyahu is like giving a gun to a drunk man. Fuck you.
And arm aid come with responsibility.
Yeah, no question about it.
I can even say condition arm supply with a ceasefire.
So do you think the United States should cease its support for these war operations?
Yeah, I'm saying this. I'm an Israeli patriot, as a father who sent all of his children to the army. My daughter, twin sister of Nimrod, is now serving in the army. We want to secure Israel, but security comes with ending wars, not to continue endless wars which are not necessary. And it's like saying, I want to protect this person. Let's talk about Netanyahu. But he's not acting in a responsible way. It's like giving a gun to a drunk man. So security comes with responsibility, and arm aid comes with responsibility.
Yeah.
Great quote. Arming Netanyahu is like giving a drunk a gun. This is penetrating, guys. There is actually a sea change in opinions. So fucking good. It's about goddamn time. This is CNN the other day.
Why did it take this long? I mean, in November of last year, the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu for the war crime of starvation 8 months ago, before Israel cut off all food, all water, all electricity into the Gaza Strip for 3 months. And to say the United States is silent, it's much, much worse than that. We are profoundly complicit and deeply responsible. It is our weapons that enforce this starvation. It is our diplomatic efforts that prevent international justice from being done. The blood is on our hands as Americans because it is our weapons that is responsible for those children starving to death.
No blood for the hands of Hamas?
Hamas has
Is there
lots
no
of...
blood
No,
on
no,
their
no.
hands?
Why don't you let me finish? How about that? Okay?
I'm just
Okay?
asking.
Yes,
You
of
blamed
course.
Israel and you blamed the U.S., but we haven't heard Hamas yet. I'm just
I
asking.
actually have one of my closest friends in college was blown up by
asking.
Hamas. I have probably a lot more experience with suffering from Hamas, with all due respect, than you do. Let's say this. If we want to see who is more to blame for the starvation of children in Gaza, Hamas or Israel, let CNN in. Israel has not allowed Western journalists in since October 7th. Let them go in, let CNN go in and decide for themselves. How about that?
How about Hamas
Can I-
releases
how
the
about-
hostages and
Yeah,
gets a
and let me
ceasefire?
see, what do you think would
Hold on,
happen if
Peter.
Hamas
Peter,
released
just give me
the
one
hostages?
second. Scott, let me ask.
There was another flotilla that made its way to Gaza. Was stopped by Israel. We even have the fucking video of them. They filmed themselves. I assume this is exactly like with Greta Thunberg. They filmed themselves, right? Going on the boat. Is this from their perspective? Yep. And then they release it to the public. No, this is a camera on the Freedom Flotilla. Okay, this is their camera. But they all have cameras on their helmets. Seriously! Watching it in real time. Pro-Palestinian group Freedom Flotilla Coalition says Israeli troops have boarded a boat that was trying to bring food aid to the Gaza Strip. It said the Handala vessel was intercepted in international waters. The Israeli Foreign Ministry said the country's Navy stopped the boat from illegally entering the maritime zone on the coast of Gaza and breaking the blockade there. It added that the ship is safely making its way to the shores of Israel and that all the passengers are safe. In June, a yacht with 12 activists on board, including Sweden's Greta Thunberg, was in it. That didn't look like a yacht to me. Was intercepted by the Israeli military. The expedition, also organized by the FFC, had been aiming to deliver aid to Gaza in defiance of Israel's blockade and to highlight the humanitarian crisis there. Israel has paused their attacks and allowing aid to go through. Like today, it's already ended, I believe. I think they've already started slaughtering people again because it's almost daytime there. But for Sunday, they paused and let some aid in.
And new tonight, Israel has announced it will pause attacks in heavily populated areas of the Gaza Strip. It comes as humanitarian groups are criticizing its handling of aid deliveries. But as Trey Yanks tells us, these pauses will not last forever.
Dozens of aid trucks headed toward Gaza's border on Sunday after Israel announced a daily pause in fighting across parts of the territory. Multiple countries airdropped supplies, and Israeli officials say they plan to establish secure corridors for aid groups to deliver food and medicine. But UN agencies warn it may not be enough to prevent mass starvation in the Palestinian territory.
When we think it can't get worse, it gets worse. Children are starving and dying in front of our eyes. Gaza is a dystopian landscape of deadly attacks.
The Israeli military and UN officials have disagreed over how to distribute truckloads of aid sitting inside Gaza's border crossings. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says any restrictions his country has put in place are designed to prevent Hamas from stealing aid.
Whichever path we choose, we will have to continue to allow the entry of minimal humanitarian supplies. We have done this until now.
The limited pause in fighting comes as the latest round of ceasefire talks once again stall. Last week, Israel and the U.S. recalled their negotiating teams from Qatar after President Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, said Hamas's response to recent proposals showed a, quote, lack of desire to reach an agreement.
They had a routine discussion the other day, and all of a sudden they hardened up. They don't want to give them back. And so Israel's going to have to make a decision.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel is now considering alternatives to ceasefire talks with Hamas. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox 9.
I'm trying to get the Drop Site News is reporting that they have been systematically blowing up residential homes in the city of Khan Yunis overnight tonight. But they link to a story that's days old. It's a residential area. So the story they link to, I assume, is talking about their demolitions of residential areas.
Bustling with life, now in ruins. Since the ceasefire ended, demolitions by Israeli forces and contractors have ramped up, leveling large swathes of Rafah. This was Tel al-Sultan, one of Rafah City's most vibrant neighborhoods, in May. Weeks later, Israeli demolition has leveled it, with only the maternity hospital left standing. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz announced plans to create a so-called humanitarian city here for 2 million Palestinians to live in. It's been widely condemned and compared to a concentration camp by a former Israeli Prime Minister, Ehud Olmert. Controlled explosions, excavators and bulldozers have obliterated whole areas of the remnants of the once bustling region. BBC Verify identified footage of infrastructure being demolished in 40 locations since the ceasefire ended in March. Tower blocks, schools and civilian buildings reduced to rubble. BBC Verify also identified dozens of ads posted on Israeli Facebook groups offering demolition work in Gaza to contractors, offering special projects in excellent conditions in areas controlled by the IDF.
The Israeli army says it operates in accordance with international law, that Hamas concealed military assets in civilian areas, and that property destruction is only when deemed a military necessity. But legal experts say these demolitions may violate international law.
Destroying enemy property in an occupied territory without imperative military necessity is a war crime. The expectation that Hamas may return to a neighborhood would not meet the standard of imperative military necessity. It is too speculative. And when entire neighborhoods get leveled, this simply raises the suspicion that the standard used here for deciding what is necessary or militarily useful is lower than what the law demands.
When the long-awaited ceasefire comes, For those who return, only ruins and the memory of what once was will remain. Merlin Thomas, BBC News.
It's appalling. Appalling is not a strong enough word. So they've been leveling residential homes in the city of Khan Yunis overnight, following a pause today. Heartbreaking. Bring it back to the United States, where we are building concentration camps for migrants here in this. I had an argument with a dude today. We've got to make sure everyone knows the definition. A place where large numbers of people, especially political prisoners or members of persecuted minorities, are deliberately imprisoned in a relatively small area with inadequate facilities. Notice the part I highlighted. Sometimes to provide forced labor or await mass execution or possibly expulsion. The term is most strongly associated with the several hundred camps established by the Nazis in Germany and occupied Europe in 33 and 45.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says deportation flights have started leaving the so-called Alligator Alcatraz facility. There were 100 detainees on the first flight. Said it's unclear where they're going.
It was never intended to be something where people are just held and we just kind of twiddle our thumbs. The whole purpose is to make this be a place that can facilitate increased frequency and numbers of deportations of illegal aliens.
So this facility is in the middle of the Florida Everglades. It's surrounded by really dangerous wildlife. So with the help of 3D models and the testimony of detainees, we're getting a sense.
Dance performance about school shooting sparks debate. I'm gonna have to seek that out. Dance performance about school shooting.
Of what life is like for the migrants there. Check out this investigation from CNN's Priscilla Alvarez.
This is sad, hopeless. It's a type of torture.
These are the stories of migrants held at Alligator Alcatraz, a new detention facility deep in the Florida Everglades. Using a plan of the site shown during President Trump's visit and photos from media tours and social media, CNN created a 3D model to take you inside the site, where hundreds of immigrant detainees are being held. Here are the giant tents where people report being crammed into cells made of chain link fence, packed with bunk beds. CNN spoke with 8 detainees to hear firsthand accounts of what conditions are like on the inside. Some asked not to be named for fear of retribution.
Because of the way that we have been treated, it has been a very terrible experience.
Gonzalo Almanza Valdez was detained by ICE when he showed up for a meeting with his probation officer.
It's 32 people per cell, or per cage, really, because this is a cage. It's a metal cage strapped in with zip ties.
3 open toilets are shared by dozens of men who say there's no running water or sewage system. Roger Moreno,
curious sir, long time no see,
told CNN the rain makes it worse.
The toilets, when it rains, they overflow, and the cells we're in fill up with sewage.
Every time it does rain in storms.
And that was a joke, guys. I actually have seen Curiouser. She was just here.
The toilets clog up.
Detainees told CNN the lights are kept on 24 hours a day.
We can't sleep. I have to personally put a rag on top of my head to at least try to take a nap because the lights are so bright. There's 24 LED lights in the roof and it's like shining bright.
Juan Palma Martinez has lived in the U.S. for more than 20 years and was also picked up by ICE at a routine meeting with his probation officer.
I no longer know when it's daytime or when it's nighttime. I don't sleep, It's affecting me mentally and physically.
The tents aren't sealed. You can see cracks in this image. And at the height of the hot Florida summer, that means the insects are relentless.
Yesterday, the air conditioning went out. We had the whole morning without air conditioning. Lots of mosquitoes came in because they get in from all sides.
Multiple detainees say they don't get enough food, though they're served 3 meals a day, and that water is limited.
Scan our bracelets, we go into the food hall. The food is very terrible here. Very, very, very small portions. People are in a hard time living here because like they're starving. Probably like a quarter cup of rice.
We've eaten as late as 10 at night. The food at night is cold too. There's never a hot meal.
Showers are located in a separate tent, and opportunities to shower there are scarce, according to the detainees we spoke with.
All the showers are connected to the same water source. There's barely any water pressure. So we have to like literally put ourselves on the wall right next to the water drainage so we can at least get hit with water.
They follow you when you're walking to the shower with your hands on your head, as if you were a prisoner. The water's very hot, very hot. They don't give you enough time. Mosquitoes are biting you in the shower. There are more mosquitoes than water.
The only line to the outside world are phones set up in the cells.
Nobody here has been able to see a loved one. Nobody has been able to see
Oh, this is all to put money into contractors' pockets. How many fucking private contractors are involved in making this place run poorly? They overbid for what they do, and then they underdeliver. These are tax dollars at work.
It sucks. It sucks. There's no physical contact with the outside world other than these phone calls. It's not really more about me. It's about not being able to see my son. He's 6. He's about to turn 7 in November. And I don't even know if I'm going to be able to see him for his birthday.
Republican and Democratic lawmakers recently toured the facility. According to one of them, they were not permitted to speak to the detainees. Then State Senator Blaise Ingoglia, a Republican, said the facility is in good order.
Oh, there's not even bidding. Oh, they're just like throwing out whatever price. Oh, whatever we decide, that's how much it costs.
It's actually a very well-run facility. The idea that
they're not criminals.
The detainees are in there and they're in squalid conditions is just not accurate.
But most distressing for detainees, they say, was that in multiple cases, they haven't appeared in any state or federal detention system since they were arrested. That means families have been unable to track them.
We're in the middle of the Everglades with constant reminder that we're locked up in a cage and anything can happen. A hurricane can hit us and we can all die and nobody would know.
In a statement to CNN, a spokesperson for the Florida Division of Emergency Management said the following, quote, as stated many
it's been kind of quiet for hurricanes so far.
False. The facility is in good working order and detainees have access to drinking water, showers, and facilities for hygiene. Now, Florida officials anticipate that the population of detainees at Alligator Alcatraz will grow over time to include thousands more. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is in talks with other states who are looking to the makeshift facility in Florida as an example of how they may approach migrant detention. Priscilla Alvarez, CNN.
Wanting to give out $600 million to build more of these facilities. Just another scam on the American people. But these people, they get off on it. They get off on it. Let me point Nancy fucking Mace.
New sheriff in town, I have to tell you, one of my favorite things to watch on YouTube these days are the court hearings where illegals are in court and ICE shows up to drag them out of court and deport them. I can think of nothing more American today than keeping our streets safer by getting those violent criminals out of the United States of America, and we all have Donald J. Trump to thank for it.
People going through the legal process, getting dragged out of court. That's what she says is American. And she says it with a smirk. I'm sorry. I can't do it anymore. That is beyond the pale. She can no longer be my GOP mommy. Nuh-uh. Beyond disgusting. And I know, like finally, Justin, after all she's done, yeah, this is too much even for me. I can't overlook it no matter how rich she is, no matter how mommy she is. And like the tide is turning with Gaza, the tide is also turning with the Republican Party. Do it for freedom. This is a lifelong Republican from Tennessee calling into C-SPAN.
When are the people of the United States of America going to start standing up for God? Do you think that our Lord wants these children to be starving? And Mr. Trump, I am so very disappointed in you. I voted for you, and you have just turned us into a bunch of hateful, mean, horrible people. And it's just, I know we've got too many immigrants in this country, but my goodness, we don't have to be mean to them. That's not what this country is built on. I probably won't be here for the next election, but my goodness, I'll never, ever vote Republican, and I've been voting for 80 years. I don't know. This country's just going in the wrong direction. It just saddens my heart.
I mean, other than this country has too many immigrants. That statement is horrific in and of itself. But at least you don't have to treat them bad. I mean, at least it's a story. She wants to see immigrants deported, but maybe she means give them due process in court. Do not send them to Alligator Alcatraz, and at least that's a reasonable. She's come to her. She's never gonna vote Republican again, even though she's 80 years old. Or no, she says she's been voting for 80 years. Holy shit, she's almost 100. She's been alive about as long as women can vote. God. Wow. Blowing my mind, Avalon. Did you miss that? Okay, this will give you some hope. This woman would have to be almost 100 years old.
When are the people of the United States of America going to start standing up for God? Do you think
that kind of makes me laugh?
The Lord wants these children to be starving? And Mr. Trump, I am so very disappointed in you. I voted for you, and you have just turned us into a bunch of hateful, mean, horrible people. And it's just, I know we've got too many immigrants in this country, but my goodness, we don't have to be mean to them. That's not what this country is built on. I probably won't be here for the next election, but my goodness, I'll never, ever vote Republican, and I've been voting for 80 years. I don't know. This country's just going in the wrong direction. It just saddens my heart.
I'm sorry, Combo Weasel. Is that a failure of me that you didn't know about Cambodia and Thailand? Because other than mentioning it in passing when Trump was talking, He took a question about it from a reporter. I haven't covered it, and I feel bad about that. There's just a lot of shit going on. Well, if you're here watching me and you didn't see it, that's on me. Let's go to Steve Kornacki. We're going to talk about redistricting. We're going to talk about Republicans' chances coming up in the next election.
Political correspondent Steve Kornacki is at the big board. So, Steve, break down what makes 2026 different than 2018.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Ryan, because when you look at the bottom line numbers, that's what you have on the screen right now, the balance of power in the House for vacancies. Essentially, if these vacancies were filled, it would probably be 220 Republican seats, 215 Democratic seats. As thin a majority as you could get for Republicans, that means if Republicans take that majority into the midterms next year, they can afford a loss, a net loss of no more than 2 seats. And you know the history of midterms. The White House party almost always loses seats. You mentioned 2018 when Republicans lost 40 seats in Donald Trump's first midterm. So how could he actually be in a position where we're talking about the House being in play next year, at least potentially? Well, it's because the makeup of that Republican majority that got decimated in 2018 is very different from the makeup of the Republican majority right now. And that's what we want to show you right here. Republicans in 2018 were exposed all over the place. Check this out here. Republicans in 2018 in districts that had been carried by Hillary Clinton in the 2016 presidential election, anti-Trump districts, there were 25 of them in the 2018 midterms. There are only 3 Republicans right now representing districts that Donald Trump didn't carry in the last presidential election. How about the next rung here? Call these sort of marginally pro-Trump districts. These are districts that Trump won by less than 7.5 points. There were 23 of these in 2018 midterms. There's almost a similar number now, 19, not quite as high. But we're highlighting these two groups because this is where Republicans suffered almost all of their damage in the 2018 midterms. Of those 25 from anti-Trump districts in 2018, Republicans lost 22 of those seats. Of the 23 that were marginally pro-Trump, Republicans lost 2/3 of them. You can't see it because of the red on red there, but 15 of the 23. 22 and 15. 37 losses of seats by Republicans in these two categories in 2018. That's almost all of the losses that they suffered. It was a 40-seat defeat for them. And you can see right now, again, only 3 in anti-Trump districts and a slightly smaller number, 19 in those marginally pro-Trump districts. You could play this out and look at the other types of districts here. There were a couple of upsets in 2018 of Republicans in solidly pro-Trump districts, and then there were no Republican losses in this category, the Trump landslide districts in 2018. And look, the Republicans have fewer overall seats now, but there are more Republicans in truly safe Trump landslide districts. So if you're looking ahead to 2026 and what Republicans are trying to pull off right here, it would essentially be, look, can you protect, can you really severely limit your loss in these two categories? This is where the damage was done in 18. If Republicans could hold the losses here to somewhere in, say, the mid-high single digits, that's where this topic now that's starting to get some attention of redistricting could come into play. Republicans in 2 states in particular, Ohio and Texas, poised, it would appear, to do mid-decade redistricting here ahead of next year's elections, midterm elections. And what could that mean? We'll take a look in Texas right now.
Usually do your redistricting during the census or after the census.
25-13 for the Republicans, and the current balance in Ohio is 10-5 for the Republicans. Now, the estimates vary. We don't know what Republicans are going to end up doing. All the sort of caveats you want on that, but 25-13 could, Dave Wasserman from Cook Political Report, who knows this stuff well, said they could maximally get to 30-8 for Republicans, depending on how they do the math. 10-5 at its a peak for Republicans, they could potentially redraw this to make it 13-2. So what would that be? That would be a gain, if both of those things happened, of 8 seats for Republicans. So think about that. If they were able to get something in that ballpark out of Texas and out of Ohio, and you went back to what we just showed you right here, if they limit the damage here, and offset it with Texas and Ohio, they could actually be in the game to hold on to their majority. Now, there's so many ifs in here, Ryan. We're talking about we don't know what the political climate's going to be like in the fall of 18. If it's a truly, a hostile political environment for Trump, no amount of map redrawing can probably undo that damage. There's even talk for Democrats now of trying to counter this in redistricting in some blue states as well. But bottom line, when Republicans look at that, compare it to 2018, and throw in those potential redraws in Ohio and Texas, the math does start to get potentially interesting, at least from this vantage point.
All right. At some point, they'll just vote, Steve, and then we'll know the answer, right? And it'll get to that point somewhere down the road.
He's talking about Governor Gavin Newsom in California threatening to fight back. If Texas does that to their districts, California, they'll fight dirty on their side.
Nation's capital tonight we go. Even though we have more than, a year to go before the midterm elections, the fight for Congress is already underway. Today, Governor Newsom joining the effort, pushing California to redraw its district maps.
Now, this comes as a direct response to a similar controversial effort happening in Texas. CBS 13's Brady Halbleib breaks it all down for us.
Today, Governor Newsom met with Texas Democrats as Republicans in that state push to redraw district lines ahead of next year's midterm elections, a move that could give Republicans more seats in Congress.
But we have not seen the nationalization of independent redistricting.
Governor Newsom standing in support of Texas Democrats Friday, accusing President Trump and Republican lawmakers of a coordinated power grab and saying California must take action in response.
And I believe that the people of the state of California understand what's at stake. If we don't put a stake into the heart of this administration, there may not be an election in 2028.
It comes as Texas Democrats are seeking...
And Gavin Newsom won't get to run for president. He's on the right side, but for all the wrong reasons. This motherfucker just really wants to be president.
Support as Republicans in their state push to redraw district lines ahead of the next election, a move that could give them more seats in Congress. The process is called redistricting. It decides who votes where and can sway election outcomes by favoring one party over another. Texas Democrats call it unfair.
This is the beginning of that, rigging the elections before they happen so that there is a predetermined outcome and Republicans maintain control of Congress.
Meanwhile, Texas Representative Brian Harrison tells our CBS sister station in Houston he's in full support of the redistricting if it falls in line with Trump's vision.
I believe the state of Texas should be doing everything we can to lock arms with President Trump and further his agenda down here. So I support us taking whatever action necessary to make sure that the United States Congress stays in Republican control in the upcoming midterm elections.
Wow.
California currently uses an independent commission to draw up districts, and the next redrawing won't happen until 2031. But Governor Newsom is now pushing the legislature to redraw those maps mid-decade, arguing it's a necessary response to what's happening in Texas.
Speaking of Texas, wild video during I think it was their state house. This was a redistricting hearing. This man, Isaiah Martin, is a Democratic congressional candidate.
Look forward to Wes Moore doing the same thing. I think Andy Harris
Please finish
had a
your
long
testimony.
congressional career he's about to be done too. All of them will be done. And you can thank your failed, senile, dilapidated, Epstein partying with president for all of the work that we're about to do to every single one of you.
Thank you for your testimony.
You did this, you caused this, and this is the result of you and your work. No, I'm not going to finish.
Witness's time has expired.
I'm not finished. Because ultimately, who doesn't have a say in this are the people of this state, the 40 million people that you guys just kicked
Witness
off
will come to order.
The people of this state.
The witness does not. The
The
witness is not
As a
recognized.
result of what you guys have done, this is a result of your policies, and you have no shame.
Okay.
You have no shame. None.
The witness.
Zero.
The witness.
You have no shame
Nope.
for what you've done, and I think that we all should be standing
No.
up here and
Just cut off his mic. Cut off his mic. Okay. That the gentleman will come to order. We will maintain decorum.
There's no decorum.
The gentleman will be.
You got no decorum.
The gentleman will come to order immediately.
You got no integrity.
This is not decorum.
All right. The sergeants are directed to remove the gentleman from the room.
History will not remember you kindly for what you have done. They will not. As a matter of fact, history might not remember you at all because of what you have done. It's horrific.
The gentleman will be removed.
Shame. You need to have shame. History will not remember you for what you have done. It is a shame.
Members and members of the public. Oh.
Horrific for what you have done. You should all be ashamed. America will rise up against you.
God, I hope.
Members and members of the public.
So the man, very impassioned, trying to see if I can get a different angle. He gets dragged out. They drag him out. So I'm sure there were people taking video.
During last night's House
He was arrested.
hearing ended with an arrest.
The gentleman will be removed.
Shame. You need to have shame. History will not remember you for what you have done. It is a shame. That's right.
The committee chair, State Representative Cody Vasut, ordered the Sergeant-at-Arms to remove Isaiah Martin from the hearing after he went over the time limit to testify, which was 2 minutes, and refused to stop talking. Martin is running to represent parts of Houston in the U.S. House of Representatives. A video shared with us by his campaign team shows Martin falling to the ground
There we go.
with a Sergeant-at-Arms as he's being removed from the hearing room. Now, the Texas Department of Public Safety sent us this statement within the last hour and a half, saying its officers arrested Martin at the Capitol at 7 o'clock last night. He was booked into the Travis County Jail on 3 charges for criminal trespass, disrupting a meeting or procession, and resisting arrest.
So we got concentration camps, forceful suppression of opposition. Does that sound kind of Nazi-ish to you guys? Does that kind of sound Nazi-ish to you guys? It's almost like Nazism has become mainstream on the right.
He is a Hitler-loving podcaster on a mission to convince young Christian men to hate, all in the name of God. And it turns out he calls Tennessee home.
Tonight, you will meet that controversial figure who critics worry is leading a lot of young men across the country down a treacherous path. He sat down for a one-on-one interview with News Channel 5 Chief Investigative Reporter Phil Williams, who has been confronting the hate in our state for almost 2 years now.
Phil is with us now. And Phil, this is a very different character from the neo-Nazi white supremacists you've previously confronted, right?
Definitely different in tone in how he presents himself. Corey Mahler portrays himself as an intellectual and as a theologian. Still, as your
I'd never heard of this guy.
It's not so different.
But he's apparently big.
KK.
I moved back to where my family is from. I'm happy to live here.
From here in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains in historic Blount County, a 39-year-old Tennessee man is waging a battle for the heart and soul of the American Protestant Church, a church that in his view should teach not just about a God of love, but also a God of hate.
Slavery isn't outlawed in Scripture. It can't be. God doesn't change. God says it's permissible in the Old Testament.
His Bible-quoting podcast has sparked intense online debate in conservative Christian circles.
Title of the article here is, Corey Mahler believes Hitler went to heaven and wants to take over the Lutheran Church.
About his growing influence.
I don't talk about Stone Choir because I don't talk about Stone Choir. I don't think they're a big problem.
Among young Christian men.
The reason we're having to address it is because we're seeing it in our churches.
And according to some, his threat to the church.
And he is one of the most dangerous people on the planet and the biggest threat to confessional Lutheranism that I see.
One of the most dangerous people on the planet.
We're somewhere between 50,000 and 100,000 listeners right now.
Per episode. Mahler's Stone Choir podcast is by his own admission aimed at hooking impressionable young men.
And if you want to influence society, you want to influence young men.
And that is your goal, is to push young men further and further to the right.
Our goal is to push young men to become...
How in the fuck is it that, like, young men are attracted to somebody like that? And not me. I'm over here making dick and fart jokes and kicking authority in the balls.
He's kicking authority in the balls.
Why would some God bullshit? I'm going to tell you how to get laid, guys. Stop being a fucking incel. Yeah, we slapping titties over here. Where are my titties?
A titty slap! Give me those titties.
Come on now.
We're getting Willie Nelson high.
You're Willie Nelson high. You're smoking some of the best dope God ever put breath in.
Why would they want to listen to this chud? What the fuck? I don't get it.
Actual Christians.
Part of Mahler's idea of being an actual Christian, the notion expressed in this tweet that Jesus Christ is Lord and Adolf Hitler is his faithful servant.
You are an avowed racist.
Yes.
You are an anti-Semite. You hate Jews.
I wouldn't say that I hate Jews.
You think Jews are the enemy.
I think that religious Jews are certainly the enemy.
You think democracy is evil.
Correct.
You are a fascist.
Yes.
And unlike most Americans who honored the sacrifices of the brave men who died on the European battlefields, instead of memorializing the dead, Mahler argues the overwhelming majority of those who died on the Allied side in World War II are in hell.
You think Hitler was a man of God who is in paradise.
That is correct.
And you think every Jew that Hitler killed is in hell.
If he was a practicing Jew.
As for the well-documented historical horror of the Holocaust, Mahler calls it an anti-German blood libel.
If you believe that Hitler did kill millions of Jews, would you have a problem with that?
I don't believe that he did.
Wow.
He did. Would you have a problem with it?
I don't have a problem with genocide per se, and I can't as a Christian.
Per se?
Because God commanded it in the Old Testament of the Canaanites.
Hitler was right!
It's a message not unlike the neo-Nazis we've confronted on Nashville streets, or even members of the Ku Klux Klan who once operated in the backwoods of the Old South.
What's the difference between you and an uneducated guy in a white robe and hood?
Well, I would object to say that those men were necessarily uneducated. There were many members of the KKK who were certainly quite educated.
The fringe guy like Corey Mahler, what he ends up doing is
he's not the fringe.
For the slightly less radical people to push their radicalism and have it look normal by comparison, thus normalizing their arguments.
James Lindsay is a conservative commentator who has drawn
this motherfucker
critique of the so-called woke left, more recently setting his sights on what he dubbed the woke right. He says it would be a mistake to dismiss Mahler as just being a fringe character.
The fringe doesn't always stay the fringe. The fringe can, in fact, very radically and very quickly become a major force in society.
You're a Christian nationalist?
Correct. As Mahler imagines it, America needs a Hitler-like figure, a so-called Christian prince, to get elected and then seize power to impose a Christian nationalist government. The leader, he argues, will necessarily be either Lutheran or Presbyterian. Baptists, he admitted, need not apply.
I think that a lot of Baptists do not read the scripture and believe what they've read.
Yeah, and they would have no place in a Christian nationalist government.
In the government, yes.
Mahler would also drive every person of color out of the country, even if they are American citizens, arguing that we should make America white again.
The United States is a constitutional republic. Where in the Constitution does it say that it's for whites only?
If you go back to the interest of the founding fathers and their intent is for us and for our posterity.
Well,
posterity is blood.
Does it say that in the Constitution?
It doesn't currently say that, but that's a fundamental problem with the Constitution. Are blacks intellectually and morally inferior? Yes.
Part of Mahler's technique, we discovered, is to condescendingly spout supposed facts that support his views about black crime, for example, while dismissing others that don't.
And overwhelmingly, those responsible for sexually assaulting children are white men. Why don't you talk about white male crime?
Those data are actually inaccurate. If you look at the...
So you believe nothing that doesn't confirm your views?
No, if you look at the per capita rate, the difference is that I actually look at the statistics. And I run the statistical analysis myself.
Studies that disagree with your viewpoint.
God has set the rules. God plays by the rules.
Mahler, in fact, never seems to doubt his own intellectual superiority, especially when it comes to his claims about Jews that are built on the flimsiest of foundations.
Jews who are practicing Jews pray multiple times a day to curse Christians.
I have lots of Jewish friends. They do not curse Christians.
Well, they don't tell you they curse Christians.
Come on.
Part of the Jewish religion is also to lie about the Jewish religion.
Which was a lot like that Jews owned the pornography industry and wielded it as a weapon against whites, particularly white Christians.
You blame Jews for that?
Yes, they admit that.
Hugh Hefner was raised Methodist.
Sure.
Larry Flint, who produced some very vile pornography, was raised Pentecostal.
Sure.
So why are you not willing to look at the role of other groups in pornography?
Look at what the Jews themselves say in their own papers. They proudly say that they are behind pornography and that they push it because they hate God.
That is just not true.
I can get you the article. Obviously, I don't have it on me. I didn't print it, but that is literally a quote from a Jew.
A Jew.
Of course. Well, if you're talking about
from a Jew,
well, no.
you're going to
If
say...
you're talking about a quote, it's obviously from one man. They don't all speak with the same head. They're not a hydra in that sense.
And yet there he was.
They're not a hydra.
A quote that he later attributed to a single Jewish pornographer, Al Goldstein, a self-proclaimed atheist, claiming he was speaking for all Jews, while also ignoring, for example, the extraordinary number of Jewish Nobel Prize winners who have been honored for their contributions to humanity. And yet,
you say our enemies are ontologically evil. No means are morally impermissible in pursuit of exterminating them.
Sure.
Perhaps most disturbing is Mahler's view that a future American Hitler would be justified in rounding up and exterminating Jews or any other peoples deemed to be the enemy.
My preferable means of exterminating any given enemy is converting him to Christ.
Now, right-wingers, why might I be upset about things like Alligator Alcatraz and spending $600 million to construct more of those? Why might I be upset about that shit?
Christ. Because in doing that, I have destroyed him as an enemy.
And if they don't, you're okay with killing them?
That would be war. And killing in war has always been something that Christians find permissible, as long as the war itself is morally justified.
Corey Mahler is an evil man. He should be marked. He has been marked. We shouldn't be praising him for anything.
While conservative churches wrestle with Mahler's influence, the East Tennessee man continues to hearken back to a dark past, trying to convince young men that this should also be America's future.
If viewers hear some of your viewpoints, why should they not conclude that your viewpoints are evil?
If men can formulate an argument that is based in God's word, that is sound, and that is against what I have said, then by all means, they should listen to God and not me.
I don't give a shit about your God. How about that, you stupid fuck?
Corey Mahler was excommunicated from his home church of the Lutheran Church in Knoxville and accused of trying to tear apart his entire denomination, although he says he is still welcome to worship in another Lutheran church near his home in East Tennessee.
Having trouble finding words after watching that, but Phil, I wonder, after spending time with him, what is the sense you get about why he is attracting people, especially young men?
Well, first of all, as you saw there, he's very calm and comes across as studious, and he inundates you with so many claims of facts that it's difficult to slow him down long enough to dissect those claims. And that's why some pastors say they're just trying to get young men in their congregations to just take a break from listening to his podcast. Just turn him off.
Mm-hmm.
Phil, eye-opening indeed. Thank you.
This is 5th, 6th, 7th time we've watched Phil Williams, maybe more. He always does an excellent job. One of the best reporters in the fucking country. Thank you, Phil, out here doing the Lord's work. Held that guy to the fire the entire time. And did it in a way that's accessible to people. Phil's a friendly person. I cannot praise Phil Williams enough. But speaking of, hold on. Byronic, welcome in, darling. Clinically, who else did I not get? Alien, good to see you. I'm sorry I didn't sound as excited. Clinically and Byronic. I feel like I haven't seen Alien in a little bit. Silent, welcome in. I didn't mean it as a slight towards you guys. Avalon, did I give you a proper good evening? I hope you are doing well. If I missed anybody else, I'm sorry. DJ Dub, did I give you a proper good evening? Tones! We were talking about a white nationalist Christian. So why not just keep it on the topic? Yet another white nationalist Christian. He's trying to do, if you are a Echoplex Media fan, then you are completely aware of a man by the name of Sean Fucked. He plays music and he is a hardcore Christian asshole. White nationalist, MAGA, yada yada. Checks all the boxes. I think he probably drinks his own piss. Despite a city warning, pro-Trump singer performs at a Montreal church, draws protesters. Protesters and police faced off outside of a Plateau church Friday evening as Sean Fucked, a pro-Trump and Christian singer, performed a concert as part of his Revive in 25 Let Us Worship tour. The show went ahead despite a warning from the city that the venue, Eglise MR, did not have the required permit to host the event. Earlier Friday, the Montreal mayor's office said borough inspectors had notified the owners the activity cannot legally proceed and that police are prepared to intervene if necessary. If the event goes ahead, notices of violation will be issued and the neighborhood police station is mobilized to enforce the regulations. Police briefly entered the church before the event began, but an officer at the scene later confirmed the show would proceed. Fucked said he was unfazed by the city's position. This is them entering the church before the event.
Que l'article 176 du Code criminel canadien est très clair. Quiconque veut interrompre une célébration religieuse est passible de 2 ans de prison. Ça veut dire que n'importe quel de ces policiers-là, et on a déjà évoqué cette clause des zones privées, n'importe quel de ces policiers-là qui veut empêcher une célébration religieuse, et on les filme pour être sûr qu'ils sont bien sur caméra, sont...
That was them entering the church as Fuck's supporters began arriving. Local activists gathered in front of the Spanish-speaking church on Roy Street, chanting anti-Trump and anti-fascism slogans. Tensions grew as the crowd grew. Yeah, our police should look like that. They should not be in dark colors. They should be very illuminated. By 7 p.m., demonstrators had surrounded the church entrance. Dozens of police officers formed a perimeter, and at least one protester was arrested. During one tense moment, a protester's interaction with a journalist from news outlet Rebel News resulted in police intervening to separate the two. Inside the church, a few dozen attendees gathered, joining in song and prayer. Police later confirmed that a smoke bomb was thrown inside the church, but no arrests were made after the incident. Oh, check you out, Sean Fucked. What a turnout you had. Great turnout. By 8:30 p.m., the crowd of protesters outside the church had thinned out. Fucked, a former worship leader and MAGA-aligned activist, has faced similar pushback across Canada. All 6 of his previously scheduled concerts in Halifax, Charlottetown, Moncton. Oh, fucking Trailer Park Boys have said Moncton. Quebec City, Gatineau, and Vaughan were canceled by local authorities. Cities said the cancellations were prompted by heightened public safety concerns and the potential for protests. Fuck's outspoken views on abortion, gender identity, and LGBTQ plus rights has drawn criticism and been cited as a source of tension. Fucked has scrambled to put on shows at alternative locations. On Thursday night, he performed at the bar Nun Campsite at the Texas River in Miramichi, New Brunswick, to replace a canceled show in Moncton. The hastily organized event prompted a statement from the owners of the campground on Friday, saying the show was not authorized and doesn't align with their core beliefs. It's important that our partner organizations know that the performer involved in this event does not align with what we stand for as an organization. This is according to Michelle Seymour, the Director of Administration for Bridges of Canada. We believe in compassion and inclusivity and in integrity. The Montreal show was another last-minute announcement to make up for canceled shows. He has framed the opposition to his performance as a form of religious discrimination. If I had shown up with purple hair and a dress claiming to be a woman, the government wouldn't have said a word. Sorry for the transphobia, guys. On Friday afternoon, Fuck claimed the pastor at the Montreal church had been pressured, threatened, and attacked for agreeing to host the concert. Then in a follow-up post, he maintained that the show would still go ahead. The pastor and his church are not backing down. He looks like a weasel. Worship in Canada is under attack, this asshole says. No, I think it's specifically you. It's specifically a you problem. Fuck has since gained a national profile in the United States and brought his message to Canada, despite some controversy along the way. Van, here's the link to the video that we watched before that. Boom. Spread the love of Phil Williams. Let's talk about another white Christian nationalist fuck. This one needs a content warning. It's always projection with these fuckers.
Superintendent Ryan Walters releases a new statement surrounding allegations that nude women were displayed on a TV in his office during executive session of last week's Board of Education meeting. 2 board members say they saw those images. In a statement today, Walters says in part any suggestion that a device of mine was used to stream inappropriate content on the television set is categorically false. I have no knowledge of what was on the TV screen during the alleged incident, and there is absolutely no truth to any implication of wrongdoing. Now, Walters also says this is a politically motivated attack. Lawmakers from both parties are calling for an investigation.
So the hardcore white Christian nationalist that says kids are grooming people was watching porn in his office. Did you guys catch that? Always projection with these people. They have some weird sexual hangups. Repression is a bad thing. apparently in front of people. Apparently, he probably went to go like screencast his phone or something, and he'd been watching porn because he was jacking it while he was at work. Which, nothing wrong with that. I've done it before. Who in the chat? Okay, probably let's do it the other way. Who in chat has not jacked off at work? Is there anyone in chat who has not jacked off at work? Who are you to... Really, Avalon? Master Goosey, he says, they have not jacked off at work. Really? Am I just odd? Well, to be fair, okay, so I guess not everybody has jobs. I've had a lot of different kinds of jobs than most people, so I would be alone in a TV. When I was in high school, I worked for a radio station, right? And I'd be there overnight and shit. I'd be the only one there, and it had way faster internet. This was 2001, 2002. Had way faster internet because I was still on dial-up at home. Yeah, you totally go in the bathroom. Yeah, your security guard just passed the time. You don't even have to be like me and have access to like, we had like T1 or something at the radio station, so I could watch videos. At home, I could only look at pictures. It was like a whole other world. So of course I jacked off at work. A lot. Oh, goddamn. That was just to pass the time, you know. Got nothing better to do. Or like when I was a photographer, you'd have a hot mom or something be flirting with you and shit. You had to go to the bathroom afterwards. I jack off at work all the time now because I work from home. Anyway. When I was a photographer, for Walmart Portrait Studio. I was a photographer for all the portrait studios, but I started with Walmart Portrait Studios. I traveled around to different Walmarts to take pictures of these little snot-nosed kids. The dude in Detroit who went on a stabbing spree in a Walmart to be charged with terrorism.
I'm Camila Mary. Coming up, we're learning more about the man who allegedly stabbed 11 people at a Walmart near Traverse City.
I'm Ingrid Kelly in Detroit. A church family is missing one of their faithful members after a tragic accident in Farmington Hills.
No, the stabbing dude. What the...
Suspect allegedly responsible for stabbing 11 people at a Walmart in Traverse City is now facing terrorism and assault charges. Welcome to Fox 2 News at 6. I'm Hillary Golston.
And I'm Dave Spencer. Police
hey, Hillary.
Attack random and say the 42-year-old man acted alone here. Fox 2's Camila Mary joins us live with more on the investigation. Camila, I understand law enforcement just gave us an update. What did we learn?
Yeah, they did hold a press conference earlier today, and really the million-dollar question right now that they still don't have the answer to is why this happened.
The suspect, who has been identified as 42-year-old Bradford James Gilly of Afton, Michigan.
Bradford?
Was arrested and transported to Grand Traverse County Jail, where he will remain pending formal charges and arraignment.
Arrested just minutes after he allegedly stabbed 11 people at a Walmart in Garfield Township near Traverse.
We have video, by the way.
The first 911 call came in at 4:43 p.m. on Saturday. The first sheriff's deputy on scene arrived at 4:46 p.m.
At the time of the deputy's arrival, multiple citizens, including one who was armed with a pistol, were confronting the male suspect in the parking lot and preventing him from harming further people and leaving.
In addition to sharing the mugshot of the suspect, investigators released a photo of the knife they say was used in the attack.
The weapon used was a folding knife with a 3.5-inch cutting blade.
Of the 11 people stabbed, one of them was a Walmart employee. They range in age from 29 to 84. The majority of them are 65 and older.
I'm happy to report one patient has been treated and released. Now we have 10 remaining patients, 2 who remain in serious condition, and the others have progressed to fair condition.
Gilly is being charged with 1 count of terrorism and 11 counts of assault with intent to murder.
And Gilly will be arraigned possibly as early as tomorrow or maybe Tuesday, and we will hopefully learn more about this investigation when he is formally arraigned. Reporting live, Camila Mary, Fox 2 News.
Yeah, and Camille, oftentimes in these terrible situations where we see this kind of absolute just...
Where's that noise coming from? Is it feedback?
Fear and the immense amount of damage that this person was able to inflict. Sometimes there are warning signs.
Jesus.
Going to large retail venues. I wonder if there were any that were missed here.
I can't. I'm sorry. I would have loved to have heard the answer to that question, ma'am. As I said, there's video of the people intervening here. Disturbing content.
Drop it! Drop it! Throw the knife that way! Throw it away! Throw it away! Hey, he hasn't dropped it. I don't care. Lay down! You better get the Nope.
Good job, guys. Now, I heard Fox News promoting it like, oh, another good guy with a gun. But this is actually rare this happens. And clearly, the dude already stabbed 11 people. And because he stabbed them as opposed to shot them, they are looking at living probably. What, 2 of them in critical condition, the rest in fair? If the dude had a gun. Now here's the thing. He was charged with terrorism. Has already been charged with terrorism. Remember, what, 3 or 4 weeks ago? We had a dude. Oh, hold on. Couple of weeks ago, we had this dude who murdered lawmakers in Minnesota. He's not been charged with terrorism. Murdered lawmakers, had a manifesto, has not been charged with terrorism. It's weird, isn't it? But the dude with the knife at the Walmart that might have just been having like some kind of mental break, charged with terrorism. It's fucking odd. New details from the crucial hours after lawmaker shootings raise questions about police response. The Minnesota Star-Tribune found that Brooklyn Park police waited more than 60 minutes to enter the Hortman home, and that several law enforcement agencies were unaware of the situation for hours. From the first 911 call, moments after Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman and his wife, Yvette, were shot at their home in the early morning of June 14th. Police knew a masked gunman was impersonating an officer and had targeted a politician and was on the move. Yet it would take 10 hours for law enforcement to systematically alert lawmakers to the exact nature of the danger they faced. Communication across a patchwork of agencies was also spotty, leaving some officials unaware of the threat for hours, raising questions about whether the suspect, Vance Bolter, could have been caught earlier. In at least one instance, police didn't follow their own procedures when they responded to attacks on the homes of lawmakers. The shootings killed Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark and wounded the Hoffmans. A Minnesota Star Tribune investigation has found new details about the law enforcement response to the shooting, including the initial 911 call made at 2:05 by the Hoffmans' daughter. Hope included the fact that the suspect was disguised as a cop. In a deviation from department policy, Brooklyn Park Police waited more than an hour to enter the home of Melissa Hortman after watching Mark Hortman get shot in the doorway. New Hope Police didn't immediately communicate an officer's interaction with Bolter, which occurred after the Hoffmans were shot but before the Hortmans were killed. Some police officers and legislatures weren't made fully aware of the threat for several hours. Bolter is facing state and federal murder charges, state attempted murder charges, and federal charges of stalking and use of a firearm, but not terrorism. Explain that one to me. Luigi, charged with terrorism. Explain that one to me. Can anyone do it? Anyone? Bueller? Cops are freaking incompetent. I believe we have a situation of incompetence in LA. We covered this story last week. The LAPD station evacuates after military ordnance is dropped off. A couple brought a military explosive device into a Los Angeles Police Department station on Saturday afternoon in an attempt to dispose of it, spurring officials to temporarily evacuate the Picomia station and nearby homes. The incident comes less than 2 weeks after an explosion killed 3 Los Angeles County Sheriff's detectives, the deadliest incident for the Sheriff's Department in more than 150 years. 3 agency veterans died in the incident. According to the LAPD, 2 people came into the, is it Pacquioma station at 2:30 p.m. on Saturday afternoon and said they were cleaning out the home of a family member who recently died when they found what they believed were explosives. The department's bomb squad used a robot to take images of the plastic box the couple had brought. Several military ordnances inside. After deeming them safe to transfer, the bomb squad moved them to a storage facility for the U.S. military to collect. In the latest twist in the case in which the sheriff's detectives were killed, one of the grenades found before the explosion is missing! So we're talking about like 2 different stories here. But one of the grenades that killed the 3 cops a couple of weeks ago, I thought it was like last week. But one of the grenades is missing. It's missing. 2 hand grenades were discovered in a Santa Monica townhome complex. One of them exploded with deadly results, and the other one is unaccounted for at this time. The situation in Minnesota kind of reminded me of the Uvalde thing, where they waited an hour to go into the house after seeing the guy get shot. That's the kind of shit that went on in Uvalde. So this is the follow-up from earlier when we were watching the CNN piece, and they talked about a dance group taking on school shootings. This is what they were talking about. Dallas dance group dares to take on Uvalde school shooting in real time. That's a bad idea, Fabian Herrera Jr. thought when his wife, a teacher, suggested the Robb Elementary School shooting as the next subject in their dance series, Echoes of Justice. Last year, the series launched with a work about 1973 murder of 12-year-old Santos Rodriguez by a Dallas police officer, so it wasn't like they were allergic to controversial topics. I'm all about that. I wanted to tackle it, Herrera said in a Zoom interview as a heavily researched piece is about to premiere. It's done with great sensitivity, great class, and as much as we possibly could, staying true to the facts. But just because it's fact-based doesn't mean Herrera Dance Project's Unanswered for 77. The time between is a literal interpretation of the shooting and the events that led up to and followed it. As dancers, choreographers, and educators, he and Mighty Frampton Herrera, who teaches math at Jesus Morales Expressive Arts Vanguard Elementary School in Dallas, sounds bougie, have crafted a work that deals both directly and abstractly with what happened in Uvalde on May 24th, 2022, when 18-year-old Salvador Ramos, former Robb student, killed 19 children and 2 teachers in side-by-side classrooms. Unanswered uses choreographed movement, police body cam, and news footage video the Herreras took when they visited Uvalde, and pop songs like Patsy Cline's Crazy, Frank Sinatra's That's Life, and now here's Wonderwall. Listen, I think you can absolutely tackle very tough subjects in art. The more I read, the more that sounded like a really bad idea. I don't know. I'd have to see it. Maybe change my mind. I tried to find the CNN piece that they quoted earlier. Here's my response to school shootings, and I think far more succinct and useful. And you know what? Producer Dave was talking with one Maserati last night, and I was in the chat. They're talking about how the kids don't do enough drugs anymore. And it's like, I always wanted to go to schools and talk about safe drug usage and shit. Let me be you get the person in the gymnasium with you get out of class, they've got the motivational speaker, right? Let me do that. Let me go talk to the kids about safe drug usage and safe sex and, like doing things in moderation. People telling them to say no to drugs. I think it'd be far more effective. Be like, if you don't want to end up like me, if you think I'm crazy, don't do drugs, kids. But if you do, be sure to properly hydrate. But knowing me, then I'd get off topic. I'll be like, I was doing Molly with this girl one night, and she rubbed herself raw, and then I had to go to the pharmacy, and I was like, I need something for raw pussy, and like, there's nothing wrong with it, she just used it too much. And this old lady at the pharmacy looking at me crazy. This is on like a Tuesday morning at like 9 o'clock in Atlanta. Yeah, that's what would happen if I was a motivational speaker at school. And they'd be horrified by the things I said.
You live in sexual anarchy?
Speaking of being horrified, I think we covered this story when it originally happened. We have a federal investigation.
Health and Human Services is looking into reforming the organ donation system in the U.S. after a federal investigation found one Kentucky organization began the organ harvesting process on people who may not have been dead. A House subcommittee held a hearing Tuesday on
people?
Safety lapses.
There's more than one?
Concerning Kentucky-based nonprofit Network for Hope, which merged with Kentucky Organ Donor Affiliates, or CODA. Tonight, we introduce you to TJ Hoover and his sister Donna. I spoke with her this evening. She says TJ was declared brain dead, but an attempt was still made to harvest his organs, even with doctors saying he was still alive. That's your LEX 18 big story at 11.
I'm your sister.
You gotta get them while they're fresh.
Mama decided that for us.
This is TJ Hoover. He has a traumatic brain injury and lives with his sister, Donna. He suffered an overdose in October of 2021.
You don't know about that? Well, we just have to.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't make jokes. This is disgusting.
Baptist Health Richmond in cardiac arrest and was declared brain dead. After several days, his family made the tough choice to take him off life support and wanted to honor his wish to be an organ donor. So his family gathered for his honor walk before doctors took him to the operating room. But that's when the horrors started.
Almost immediately, as soon as his honor walk started, his eyes were open. And they were tracking, not just like, crazy eyes. He was actually tracking, looking around at the people that were there.
45 minutes after he was taken into the OR for organ harvesting, Rohrer says a doctor told them he'd woken up.
She said, I stopped it. He's not ready. He woke up.
But what Rohrer would later learn was much more terrifying. Natasha Miller was a surgical preservationist working TJ's case for Kentucky Organ Donor Affiliates, or CODA.
He was moving a lot, just kind of like thrashing, just not settled.
Miller says TJ's declaring physician thought he showed too many signs of life to continue with the surgery, but that CODA wanted to continue the procedure. Rohrer didn't know any of this had happened until she was contacted by Nicoletta Martin last year, a surgical preservation coordinator for CODA at the time, who'd been on her way in to take over TJ's case. She says she learned TJ woke up during his heart catheterization and his family was never notified.
I was really surprised that morning to see that he had been taken to the cardiac cath lab and he was awake, and they paralyzed and sedated him and continued on with the OR. And the case note said that the hospital staff was incredibly alarmed. They were calling it euthanasia. The cardiologist that was performing the procedure was saying that he didn't understand why TJ was given a poor prognosis, and to him it didn't look like he was brain dead.
Martin says she put her 2 weeks notice in to CODA after TJ's case. Rohrer says TJ suffers from PTSD every day from the trauma. And Martin...
absolutely!
...ever since to get TJ's story out there and bring awareness to organ donation reform.
TJ was able to fight for his life, and he's still here. And there's others that are still here. But there's a lot that are not.
In Richmond, Annie Brown, LEX 18 News.
I'm so sorry, TJ.
Network for Hope for comment on TJ's case and on Tuesday's hearings. They responded with this statement that reads in part, quote, "We hold ourselves to the highest standards and are committed to ongoing improvement as we carry out the sacred responsibility of honoring each individual's decision to become an organ donor. We remain focused on our mission and dedicated to earning and maintaining the public's trust in the donation and transplant system," end quote.
I'm stunned. Whew. That was rough. Let me hit you with another one.
Well, one person is alive right now. It's a discovery made after they were declared dead. The Knox County Regional Forensic Center says the medical examiner's office was contacted about a dead body in a Knoxville home. When the investigator arrived, she realized the person was not actually dead and started life-saving measures. Knoxville police officers helped and the person was fully revived. We have reached out to the Forensic Center for more information and have not heard back yet. We also reached out to the Knoxville Police Department, which did confirm officers helped with life-saving efforts. A KPD spokesperson also says, quote, the Knoxville Fire Department has already issued a statement that they're conducting an internal investigation into the matter. That statement says a few Knoxville firefighters are on administrative duty after they responded to a medical call Friday afternoon. Crews say they responded to a home for a reported emergency, and the department has since launched an internal investigation. The Tennessee Department of Health is also expected to conduct an independent review. KFD leaders say they're cooperating fully and extended sympathies to the individual and their family. When we asked the department if it was related to the person assumed dead who was actually alive, a KFD spokesperson said because of the ongoing investigation, federal and state privacy laws, they cannot comment further.
Yay. Some people that are glad to be alive are flying on this Southwest flight. Once again, if I get picked to go on Jubilee, I'm going to have to fly out to LA in 2 weeks. I am scared to death of flying. This is not good to be seeing right now.
In developing news, an investigation is now underway into evasive maneuvers by a Southwest flight to avoid a mid-air collision.
2 crew members were injured when the plane rapidly dropped after takeoff. KTLA's Carlos Herrera is live at Hollywood Burbank Airport with the latest on the investigation. Good morning, Carlos.
Hi, good morning. And again, our air traffic control system under question by travelers this morning. More on that in just a few moments because we know it was quite the terrifying 10 seconds for those passengers on that plane. The longest 10 seconds of their lives, they said, in which they felt they were in free fall and thought the incident would have the worst possible ending. Southwest Flight 1496 was headed to Las Vegas from Hollywood Burbank Airport yesterday. It was just before noon, had just departed 6 minutes after, or before rather, when the pilot dropped the aircraft nearly 500 feet to avoid a mid-air crash with the former British military fighter jet. That sudden drop causing passengers to fly out of their seats, bumping their heads on the ceiling.
It was probably around 8 to 10 seconds where we just felt like the plane was in a free fall. You're like, all right, this is it. We're done. We're going down. And I think everyone reacted accordingly to that.
The plane then climbed rapidly to gain altitude, with the pilot later announcing to passengers that the drop was to escape a catastrophe. This morning, aviation experts say that the savior of the flight may have been what is called the Traffic Alert and Collision Avoidance System, or TCAS, on board. Southwest Airlines saying the crew responded to 2 traffic alerts that required them to descend. They're now engaged with the Federal Aviation Administration to further understand these circumstances. No customers were hurt, but 2 flight attendants were treated for injuries. The scare coming just a week after a B-52 bomber doing a flyover during the North Dakota State Fair nearly collided with a Delta regional commercial jet. The Air Force says air traffic control failed to advise the pilots of the inbound aircraft. And just a few days later, a Delta Airlines passenger jet aborted takeoff in Mexico City after its flight crew observed another plane landing about 200 feet in front of it on the same runway. These episodes continuing to raise concerns about the nation's air traffic control system and the staffing shortages it's having. It's drawn intense criticism after an Army Black Hawk helicopter struck American Airlines Flight 5342, which was landing at Reagan National Airport near Washington back in January. That incident killed 67 people. This morning we spoke with Fischel Pruitt. She was waiting to board a flight when she found out about yesterday's mid-air scare.
When I saw it, I just didn't want to panic because I didn't want to scare anyone else that I was with.
There's a lot of issues, pertaining to air traffic controllers. Mm-hmm. There's a shortage nationwide. Mm-hmm. People concerned about it. Are you concerned about it?
Yeah, because people can't do it. people can't do their job if there's not enough people to do it. And if they're stressed or overworked, I mean, I'm a nurse, so I can understand that. So if there's not enough people, or if you're understaffed, or, you know, it's too stressful, you're not able to properly do your job.
And all the passengers we spoke with this morning certainly hope that all these issues get resolved. This morning, all flights out of Hollywood Burbank are taking off as scheduled. We'll send it back to you.
But hey, flying is much safer than driving in a car. That is statistically correct. We watch all kinds of shit about flying. We watch all kinds of car crashes. DHP investigating 2 hit-and-run crashes on the 110. I believe one of these has some insane video.
Gonzalez, Kathy is off tonight. We begin with that frightening video, something we are seeing too often here in Southern California, reckless driving. And now the CHP is investigating 2 separate hit-and-run crashes. NBC4's Macy Jenkins joins us live from the Florence neighborhood of South LA with more details from investigators, all new here at 5. Macy.
Hi there, Jonathan. Well, yes, the CHP says it's investigating 2 separate crashes, and it believes both of them are hit and runs. Now, we have dash cam video showing one of them. This happened earlier this morning in the overnight hours, but it's shocking to see, and it's surprising that no one was injured. Now, both crashes happened at 2:30 this morning, just south of Gage Avenue. You see a white sedan in front, followed by a black sedan weaving between the vehicles. The black sedan then crashes into a car on its right, causing it to ricochet into the car to its left. That car then veers several lanes over to the left before appearing to regain control. Meanwhile, the black sedan appears to spin out and crash into the concrete barrier wall, sending sparks flying into the night sky. Maria Zamora lives on Gage Avenue and says while she didn't hear the overnight collision, she's not surprised to hear what happened.
It's just bad. Like, I feel like there's a time and place for everything, and especially on the freeway, it's horrible. I mean, right here when you come passing down my street, they'll do it here, and it's like there's families around. I have kids around, so I try to stay inside as much as possible.
Do you guys ever call the cops when you see the street racing?
I think at this point it's pointless to call them. I feel like cops don't even do anything anymore. Like, if it's not somebody being murdered, if it's not something serious, they're not coming.
Now,
because cops are useless.
We're investigating this as a street racing incident. They told us they could not confirm this at this time. We are still trying to get more details on the investigation, and we'll bring you the latest if we have anything to share at our 6 o'clock hour. Reporting live here in the Florence area of South LA, Macy Jenkins, NBC4 News.
We'll see you then.
Social media influencer is behind bars after his viral pranks caused chaos at several Valley businesses. Tempe police arrested 21-year-old Heston Cobb. He's known as Heston James on social media. He has more than 1 million followers on Instagram and TikTok. This is video of one of those pranks that Cobb put up on social media. It has since gone viral. Tempe police say that it shows him and a group of men going into a Tempe auto shop, and they're dressed up as employees, pretending to be them. Cobb then tells the group to begin working, and the men begin grabbing equipment and crawling underneath vehicles. One employee, see, that's what they do. They jump out of the van and then they just cause chaos. One employee screams to get out, but they just won't leave. They're just causing absolute chaos. In another viral video, Cobb shows up at a Chipotle dressed as a worker. He tells employees he's bringing in a crew to, quote, clean house. And he tells the employees that, that they're all basically going to get fired, or they're going to be cleaning up the basically cleaning this area up, apparently. And then the employees at the Chipotle called 911.
A lot of these prank videos may seem like fun and games. They garner millions of views, and these influencers get a lot of money for these views.
Yeah, they do.
They're affecting businesses. They're affecting people. They're affecting, the regular operations. So that's where things start to become criminal.
And so this is what's happening now. Cobb is facing several charges, including...
Please don't hate me. Please don't hate me. But she can be my GOP mommy. Grr.
Start to become criminal.
And so this is what's happening now. Cobb is facing several charges, including 5 counts of disorderly conduct and 5 counts of criminal trespass.
All I got silent do was go, don't do it. Feels like it's so late. Like I usually get out of here a lot earlier. Here's a cat on a catwalk. Apparently in Istanbul. Once again, sorry for the delay. Life happens. That is too fucking cute. I almost completely ended the show and just did music and police chase. Did I come to know and love you? My apologies. I am horrible to everyone I've ever loved. I cannot apologize enough for everything I've done to you. We're going over to producer Dave with Echoplex Media. It's time for the Plex Podcast. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's alright to have a little fun before you're the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. I'll do my best to be on time tomorrow, but I make no promises. See you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol, live